Leo, my bold-hearted friend, let's not dance around it this week. Something intense is unfolding. The energy is raw. Money and loss are walking side by side in your life right now. It's not just a moment of change. It's one of those weeks that marks a before and an after. And you probably already feel it, don't you? Something in your chest. A quiet tension in the background. That strange mix of excitement and unease. That's not coincidence. That's your intuition tuning into what the universe is trying to show you. This week will bring a shift that you can't ignore. It's not about fear, it's about clarity. You didn't just stumble into this video while scrolling. Life nudged you here. Because deep down, you sense that something is closing and something else, possibly bigger, is trying to begin. Let's make this clear. When I say money and death, I don't mean it as a scare tactic. I mean it as an invitation to look deeper. Death can be literal, but it can also mean the end of a role, a job, a version of yourself, or even a belief system that no longer fits who you're becoming. And money? It's not just currency. It's energy, value, exchange. It's about finally being recognized, paid, seen. Maybe there's a legal process wrapping up. Maybe someone from the past left behind more than just memories. Maybe a chapter that's been emotionally draining is finally about to pay off in more ways than one. These aren't random events. They're tied together. What ends this week opens the door to what you've been preparing for, sometimes without even realizing it. Now, I won't lie to you, this isn't an easy week. But it's a meaningful one. It's the kind of week where a single insight, a conversation, or even a moment of silence can unlock years of stagnation. If you've been feeling stuck financially, emotionally, or even spiritually, what's coming may not look like a miracle right away, but give it time. It's movement. And movement is what you've needed most. So before we dive into the cards, into the astrology, into the deeper layers of this energy, I want you to pause and ask yourself honestly, what in your life is already asking to be released? And are you willing to let it go so something better can take its place? Because this isn't about passive waiting. This is about conscious receiving. The universe doesn't just want to bless you. It wants you to show up and claim what's yours cleanly, courageously, and in your full truth. Take a breath. Slow down. You're exactly where you need to be. Now, if you're here because something deep inside you led you here, then I want to invite you to do one simple thing. Comment below and write, "I'm ready to release and receive." This is your moment to affirm it, not just to me but to yourself and to the universe. Thank you truly for your presence here. Every comment, every like, every subscription isn't just support. It's a thread in the greater tapestry that we're weaving together at Eternal Mindfulness. And if you're willing to stay until the end of this video, I promise you, what you'll discover could shift how you look at everything happening right now. So let's begin. Something powerful is calling your name. Sometimes, when life feels like it's moving in slow motion or not at all, it's not because nothing is happening, it's because something deeper is trying to unfold beneath the surface. And this week, Leo, the cards don't just speak, they open doors. You're standing in front of one now. It may not be a door you were expecting. It might even look like an ending. But behind it is a beginning that's been waiting for you, patiently, quietly, for longer than you realize. The presence of the key card in this reading isn't just symbolic. It means you are finally being offered access to clarity, to change, to something you may have felt blocked from. And yet, the key doesn't turn on its own. You must choose to take it. You must be willing to let one door close, so another can open. That's where the cross enters. The cross doesn't come lightly. It carries weight, the kind of weight that comes with loss, grief, or even sacrifice. You may have recently let go of something or someone. Or you may be sensing a goodbye forming in the air, one that hasn't been spoken yet but is already echoing in your body. These moments, though heavy, are not without purpose. As painful as they are, they carry within them a sacred promise that something meaningful will rise from the space left behind. And then, of course, there's the snake. This card often stirs discomfort in people. But here's the truth: it's not always about betrayal or harm from others. Sometimes, it's about our own inner struggle, our ego, our resistance to change, our fear of being vulnerable. The snake sheds its skin to grow. It's not a death. It's a renewal. But it requires you to be honest with yourself. What parts of you are too tight, too outdated, too rooted in survival instead of trust? What are you still trying to control that isn't yours to hold anymore? The final combination, whip and clouds, tells me that some of the patterns you've been stuck in since early this year, maybe even longer, are reaching their limit. There's a clearing happening. The chaos, the confusion, the back and forth you've been battling in your mind is thinning out. And if you let it, a much lighter path is forming. But you must stop punishing yourself for the past. Forgive what didn't go the way you wanted it to. You're not meant to carry that weight into the next season of your life. Now, when I look at all of this through the lens of the cosmos, something becomes very clear. Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation, is currently facing off with your ruling energy, the Sun. This is no small alignment. It's like a spotlight being pointed into the deepest corners of your inner world, showing you what's ready to die, not to hurt you, but to set you free. This is karmic. This is cleansing. This is an invitation to stop avoiding the inevitable and start aligning with what's true. So if you're still here with me now, I want you to do something. Just pause. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath, not a shallow one, a real one. And imagine a door. It's old, familiar, maybe even a little worn down. And now imagine a key appearing in your hand. You know what this key unlocks. You've been waiting to use it. The question is, are you finally ready? If your heart says yes, then say it with me in the comments: I'm ready to step through the door. Because once you say it, once you mean it, everything starts to shift. And it's not magic. It's faith. Faith in the unfolding. Faith that what feels like an ending is actually the beginning of a life that fits you better than you've ever known. There are moments in life when the things we gain are not just wrapped in joy but in grief, in endings, in something that shakes us at our core. And that's what this week is asking you to sit with, Leo. The cards we pulled: Ten of Pentacles, Justice, and the Aces of Swords and Wands didn't just speak of abundance. They speak of abundance that arrives through transformation. Through letting go. Through one door closing so that another, perhaps one long overdue, can finally open. The Ten of Pentacles often points to legacy, family, money, inheritance, or resources that come from a lineage or someone else's passing. And yes, that can sound cold. But in truth, it reflects something more layered, that sometimes, what we receive materially is tied to the people we've lost or the roles we've released. It's not about profiting from pain. It's about honoring what was, and understanding that what they left behind, whether it's money, wisdom, or even unfinished business, is now yours to carry, and to transform. Justice shows up when there's been imbalance for too long. Maybe something owed to you is finally arriving. Maybe a situation where you were overlooked, underpaid, or unrecognized is being corrected. There may be legal closure, a settlement, or a message from someone saying, "You were right. And I see you now." But even if it doesn't come through courtrooms or contracts, this card reminds you that truth has a way of finding its way home. And then we have the aces. The Ace of Swords cuts through confusion. The Ace of Wands ignites action. Together, they ask you to do something with what's coming. Don't just receive. Respond. If you're handed a financial opportunity, don't sit on it in fear or rush to spend it just to feel something. Breathe. Pause. Ask yourself, what would long-term wisdom want me to do with this? Maybe it's paying off debt. Maybe it's setting up a savings plan. Maybe it's finally enrolling in that class, starting that business, or funding your own freedom. I know firsthand how complicated money can feel when it's tied to emotion. I've watched people receive checks after funerals, and they didn't know whether to cry, feel guilty, or be relieved. And I've seen people inherit something that wasn't money, but a sense of responsibility or even pressure to carry on a family legacy. That's real. That's heavy. And you're not alone in that. This is why your emotional awareness matters just as much as your financial planning right now. Be honest with yourself. Are you tempted to spend out of impulse or to fill a void? Are you afraid that receiving something means you owe someone or that you'll lose it again? These thoughts are normal. But they're not your truth. You get to choose how you relate to what comes. You get to rewrite the story money has told in your life. Let this be the week where you use both logic and heart. Where you take what you've been given not just as a gift, but as a sign. That you've survived, that you're trusted, and that you're being handed a new role in your own life. If any part of this resonates, I want to invite you into a small but powerful practice. Share in the comments, have you ever experienced a financial turning point that started with emotional pain? A loss, a breakup, a layoff, a goodbye? Sometimes, when we name those moments, we free ourselves from the weight they carry. And in doing so, we step more fully into the abundance that's finally trying to reach us. Sometimes we talk about letting go, as if it's a switch you flip, like one day you just wake up and you're over it. But real release, Leo, the kind that frees your soul and clears the way for the life you actually want, doesn't usually happen all at once. It's more like walking barefoot over broken glass. You feel every step. Every piece you let go of stings, but it also heals. This part of the reading is about that kind of letting go, the kind that doesn't look glamorous, but changes everything. We're not talking about physical death here. We're talking about the symbolic deaths, the end of an old job that made you feel like you were losing yourself, the final goodbye to a relationship that left you feeling small, the identity you wore for years that no longer feels like home. Maybe for a while, those things defined you. But now they're quietly dissolving, making room for something more honest, more you. And here's the thing, endings aren't failures. They're permissions. Sometimes you don't even realize how much something was weighing on your spirit until you release it. That's when the light comes in. Not immediately, maybe not tomorrow, but it comes. It always does. This week, you may feel that invitation to release more strongly than ever. Not just mentally, but physically too. You might feel the urge to clean out drawers, burn old letters, unfollow people who drain your energy. That's not random. That's your nervous system responding to a shift in energy. It's your soul whispering, "We're not that person anymore." Writing a letter to what you're leaving behind can be a powerful ritual. You don't have to send it. Just say what needs to be said. Thank it. Mourn it. Then let it go. That letter isn't for them, it's for you. It tells the universe that you're making space. That you're serious about healing. That you're ready to live unburdened. In the same way we clean our homes to make them feel fresh, we have to clean our inner spaces. If we don't, clutter builds resentment, guilt, old stories. And when your heart is cluttered, blessings have no place to land. That's why this part matters so much. You can't start the next chapter while still rereading the last one. Of course, none of this means you shouldn't feel what you feel. On the contrary, feel everything. Cry if you need to. Grieve. Grief isn't weakness. It's proof that you dared to love, to believe, to try. But don't let the pain close your heart. Keep it open, even when it hurts. That's where your freedom is. Try sitting with yourself for 5 minutes each morning. Not to force anything, just to listen. Your body remembers what your mind forgets. When you give it space to breathe, wisdom rises. New truths start to surface. You begin to hear the version of yourself that's been waiting to speak, the version that's not surviving, but finally starting to live. So ask yourself, gently but honestly, what needs to be buried this month, not out of hatred, but out of love? What version of you is ready to be released, so the real you can finally breathe? If something comes to mind, write it in the comments below. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be true. And naming it, that alone can shift something. You don't have to carry it anymore. This is your moment to let it go. Money is a strange mirror. It doesn't just reflect how much we have, it reflects how we feel about what we're worth, what we fear, and what we truly believe we're capable of handling. This week, Leo, the financial energy around you is bold, almost electric. But the real question isn't, will something come? It's, what will you do with it if it does? That's the real test. That's the invitation the universe is placing on your table. There's a big difference between using money to affirm your growth and using it to mask your wounds. One expands you. The other delays your healing. And sometimes, we don't even realize we're doing it. We call it treating ourselves, or finally getting what we deserve. But deep down, we know whether we're acting from confidence or from fear. This week, money might come through in unexpected ways: a bonus, a refund, a payout, or even a shift in your relationship with money itself. But what's more important than the amount is the mindset you meet it with. In the lens of the law of attraction, this is a week to affirm value even before it arrives. That means choosing gratitude before the number changes, choosing alignment before the bank account grows. The energy you put out, how you think, speak, and act about money shapes how it flows to you and through you. So try saying this aloud when you wake up: I am already abundant. I am ready to receive with clarity, not with fear. And here's something deeper from numerology that adds context to what you may be feeling right now. This week is the closing arc of a 9-cyclia completion, an energetic death of sorts. After the 19th, the energy of the 1 cycle begins, which is all about rebirth, fresh starts, and bold new direction. But here's the catch: if you carry old money beliefs or scarcity energy from the 9 into the 1, you delay what wants to begin. You must decide: do I walk into the new chapter with hands full of baggage, or open, ready, willing? You may start to notice invitations showing up in different forms. Someone reaching out with a collaboration idea. A random message that feels oddly aligned. An apology that heals something inside you. These aren't coincidences. They are what I often call life's secret doorways. And your only job is to stay awake enough to recognize them and brave enough to walk through them. Work-wise, if things have felt foggy, a new direction may present itself. It might not look like the big dream at first. It may even feel small or unfamiliar. But if it carries the energy of peace and purpose, that's your signal. And remember, sometimes the next step isn't up, it's inward. Reconnecting with why you started. Revisiting what success really means to you now, not 5 years ago. Now, I want to invite you into a small but powerful declaration. If any of this speaks to you, write it out loud in the comments. I use money as a tool to serve the light. Say it not just to affirm your intention, but to anchor it into your reality. The more we claim abundance as something conscious, the more it responds in kind. And remember, money is not your source, it's just one of many channels the universe can use to remind you that you are supported, you are seen, and you are already enough. This isn't about chasing wealth. It's about choosing how to live in a way that's true, generous, and awake. That's the new version of prosperity. And if you're ready, it's already making its way to you. Sometimes the most powerful strength is the one you don't see, just the quiet knowing that you're being watched over, even when everything around you feels uncertain. This week, Leo, that quiet knowing takes shape in the presence of Archangel Michael. Whether you believe in angels as literal beings or understand them as archetypes of energy and higher guidance, Michael represents the force that stands between you and anything that tries to pull you off your path: external attacks, inner doubts, fear, shame, self-sabotage. He is the guardian of thresholds. The keeper of what is sacred. There's a reason this energy is coming through now. You've been walking through an intense corridor of endings, emotional transformation, and deep decisions about who you're becoming. And when you're in the middle of all that, the shadows get louder. Old insecurities return. People you thought you'd moved on from suddenly resurface. Or maybe it's not people at all, maybe it's the little voices in your head that whisper, "You can't do this. You're not ready." That's what Michael comes to silence. That's the kind of energy he protects you from, not just the danger out there, but the heaviness inside that tries to convince you to shrink when you're being called to rise. What makes this particular week so potent is that spiritually, it's a closing of a karmic chapter. You've been cutting cords, maybe even without realizing it. Letting go of what's no longer aligned. Saying no to the patterns that kept you looping. And as freeing as that is, there's also fear that can come with freedom. That's okay. That's natural. But this is why you don't have to carry that fear alone. This is why we call on Michael not because we are weak, but because we are aware. Aware that standing in your light doesn't mean you don't get shaken, it means you don't stand alone. If you feel called to, try a simple ritual this week. Light a white candle each evening from the 14th to the 19th. You don't have to say anything elaborate. Just sit in silence for a minute, and when you're ready, speak this out loud. Archangel Michael, cut the cords that no longer serve my light. Clear the way for divine abundance to move freely in my life. Say it slowly. Say it with presence. The words don't need to be perfect. What matters is your intention. That's where all power begins. You may also find it helpful to wear or carry something that anchors you to this energy: white quartz, a soft blue scarf, even a stone you found on a walk that feels protective. These aren't magic in themselves. They're reminders. Anchors for your nervous system. Signals to your subconscious that say, I am held. I am safe. I am aligned. You've done a lot of deep work already, releasing, grieving, choosing again. But now the energy is shifting. This isn't about just surviving the transformation. This is about emerging from it with clarity, purpose, and the protection to walk forward fully. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep choosing the light, especially on the days when it feels dim. Especially when it would be easier to turn back. So let me ask you gently, do you believe in being protected? Do you believe something greater than fear is walking beside you, guiding your next step even when you can't see it yet? If so, light up the comment space below. Type it out loud, Michael is with me. Let it be a declaration. A grounding. A way of saying, I may not know exactly where this path leads, but I'm not walking it alone. And that more than anything just how the light stays with you. You've made it all the way here, and if you're still listening, it means something in you has already begun to shift. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's just a thought you didn't have before. But it's there. This week, Leo, isn't about fear, it's about truth. A truth that's not always comfortable, but deeply freeing. The kind of truth that reminds you, what ends may break your heart, but it also clears the space for the kind of wealth, emotional, spiritual, and yes, even financial, that's meant to last. You see, we often think we're afraid of endings. But what we're really afraid of is starting again. As someone new. But what if this version of you, the one stepping into this week, is the most honest version you've ever been? What if the things you thought you needed to hold on to were actually the things keeping you from your light? Money and death. Two of the most uncomfortable topics in human life. But also, two of the greatest teachers your soul could ever encounter. One shows you what you value. The other shows you what you can't take with you. And somewhere between the two is your purpose. Your power. Your freedom. So here's what I want to leave you with. Let this be the week you say goodbye to the version of you that was just surviving. Say goodbye with grace, with gratitude, and with your whole heart. Write it out. Light a candle. Bless the pain for what it taught you and then let it go. You don't need to drag your old stories into a future that wants you fully awake. Then turn toward what's next. Start the journal. Make the financial plan. Take the one action you've been postponing because it scared you. Let this week be your bridge, not just to more money, but to more meaning. Because you're not afraid of death, not really. What you fear is never having fully lived. Never having claimed your voice, your wealth, your calling. But that part is still in your hands. And if this video has reminded you of that, if it's touched something deeper in you, then don't let it end here. Comment below, "I am ready to live fully." Let that be your anchor. Your way of showing up for yourself, not just in words but in practice. And if this spoke to your soul in any way, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share it with someone else who needs to be reminded that they, too, are protected and powerful. May you have enough courage to release, and enough gratitude to receive. The next chapter isn't waiting. It's already begun.